Hi everyone and welcome back. I'm here. My name is Frizzerk and with me is Snape and we just came from a very explosive bout between the UST Tigers and the CPU Golden Lions. Wow, it was a very back and forth series for both of these two inside the game, but fortunately for CPU Golden Lions, their fundamentals really pulled through for them throughout both games, leading them into a 2-0 sweep against the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really close series. I honestly felt like there were several times where the Tigers could have won the game, but unfortunately, it wasn't the case for them. And I mean, I guess you have to give kudos to the CPU squad for securing that 2-0 for themselves. And we also have, another crazy matchup coming up with you, coming up right now. It's gonna be the NEU New Era University Paradigm Esports versus PNU SULO. Both of these teams are pretty strong, I would say, and they also had pretty impressive performances yesterday, where both teams went 1-1 against their respective opponents.
Yeah, being 1-1 right now, both of these teams definitely have the motivation to, try to claw out and fight to come out on top with a 2-0 right now to really give themselves a bit more of a buffer than just what a draw can give them. As we are already here in the pick and ban stage, we do see that both of these teams have opted to take out these expected power picks. This Ziggs has been taken out as well as this Gragas on the side of NEU Paradigm Esports, and a response to this seems like it's going to be that Camille ban as well as that hover onto that. Yeah, let's see if that will indeed be the case.
Yeah, so there are a few options now that the ban is finished. Akali, of course, is one of those really strong first picks that these teams can go for. Another option that they can go for is, I believe, the Galio, I guess, is an option. Although I do feel like it'll most likely be that Akali first pick on the side of NU Paradigm Esports.
Yeah, it's true. There's also that option of the Lee Sin because
Mm.
Lee Sin doesn't really have a lot of terrible matchups. He is kind of the uncrowned king of the early game jungle. And it kind of opens up the possibility of a 1-to-1 scenario as well. I am not really sure, Neep, but has there been a team yet, at least based on yesterday, that has employed the 1-to-1 strategy?
I mean, not really, to be honest. Like, usually we'll see that when teams are able to secure that Baron buff, the 1-2-1 is kind of the default. Oh, do you mean like the 1-2-1 early game?
Yeah,
Oh,
the 1-to-1 early game.
yeah. There was one team who did go for that. I'm trying to remember which team it was. I think it might have been MCL. I
Mm.
think I think it was MCL, and they did that with the Lee Sin to secure the early Scuttle Crabs. They got both Scuttle Crabs, and then they reset it back to the normal laning. So I
Mm.
actually really liked how they executed it. But meanwhile, we do see that it's going to be a Braum first pick on the side of NEU, whereas PNU Sulo, they're going to go for the Garen and the Corki. So I guess teams really like the Garen. I mean, I can't blame them. Garen is just extremely tanky, does a lot of damage, and it's really hard to kill. Like, it's actually really hard to kill a Garen in the later stages of the game.
And it's gonna be yeah, I do see that point very clearly in the games that have transpired recently, and that Braum first pick. I was looking at it for a while now, and whenever I see this Braum first pick, it kind of telegraphs to me that it's possible for these teams to go for this 1-to-1 strat, and it seems like that might be the case for Paradigm because Braum is really great paired with this guys in the early game. AcadArena deals a lot of damage early, and this Lee Sin getting locked in as well. That's basically a trifecta combo that can allow that 1-to-1 strategy to happen. Meanwhile, it seems like the Sulo on the other side don't really want to be matching this. We'll have to see they're leaving their support for last pick counter pick. So I wonder what they're gonna be drafting from here.
Yeah, and for some reason, PNU, they really like this Ari pick. I think Milan has played Ari almost every single game so far in the
Mm.
University Alliance Cup. So I think that's kind of like his signature pick at this point. When they get the opportunity to play Ari, they will play Ari. And I mean, it hasn't been bad for them, but it's just interesting since that's not really something that you see too often either.
Yeah, the Ari isn't really much of a popular pick in the meta in the Philippines. It has it has a moderate showing in the other regions, but that's in the competitive scene, not in the collegiate scene, and that's in the international scene as well. But it seems like it's going to be a support Galio, which will be locked in for the side of Zulu. And I really like seeing this Galio flexed in support. It really tells me that the support player really knows how to maximize this champion, because the
Yeah.
playstyle of Galio support, it's a bit different compared to mid. There's a lot of potential in the kit, but at the same time, I also really like the draft that the Paradigm Esports squad has created for themselves. They have locked in that Darius, which deals very well with a lot of melee champions. So there are three. There's the Galio, the Jarvan, and the Garen. But still, that said, there's still the Ari and the Corki, which deals a lot of range damage.
Yeah, so early game, you kind of have to give it to this Lee Sin team composition based on just how things are, based on how Lee Sin plays. I'm digging the pose from the NEU player. He's got the gloves on, he's got the headband on, he's ready to win. I wonder if that's how he's playing right now. I guess we'll find out, and right off the bat, we do see pretty interesting level 1 going for the sweeping lenses to deny the vision. I am also looking an eye out for this Aurelion Soul, because Aurelion Soul, I think he's a unsung hero a lot of these times. The ability to set up tower dives and roams as early as level 2 really is quite strong. And I wonder if we'll be seeing these early roams this game with this Al Soul.
Yeah, given that Ari's wave clear isn't really that great before is able to build her Luden's Echo, if that's the first item that she opts to build. Aurelion Sol should be able to find really decent roams in the early game right here. Very excited, just as you are, to see what sort of cross map lace thing will be able to pull out here right now.
Yeah, so based on how things have been going so far, we do see that it's been pretty smooth on the side of, nothing too fancy. We do see that the Jarvan, I think I like the idea of starting on the red, so that way you don't really have to interact with that Lee Sin. Scuttle Crabs will be an exchange from top to bottom. I don't think we'll be seeing any early game fighting here based on how things are looking like right now.
Yeah, pretty textbook play right here. I was actually keeping an eye out for Blasphemy on that Jarvan. I thought he was gonna go for a 4-camp clear into the Scuttle Crab, because this has been seeing a bit more. But here we are. Nice stun coming out from the Aurelion Sol, but unfortunately, the resonating strike from that Lee Sin did not find its target. Just hitting a creep. Just 1 million packs right there from the mid lane. But yeah, so very quite peaceful so far, Neep, and it's really good for Sudo, because like we said, there's really no interaction with this Lee Sin early game.
Yeah, and I think the longer that they can continue to just farm up without getting punished anyway, the better, because they've got some pretty big power spikes come this first dragon. The Triforce on the Corki along with that package is quite potent. And then the Ari most likely going to be going for, I guess, a Ludens into the Death Cap build. Is probably the most standard build for her. And Ludens is also another item that's very much obtainable before the first dragon spawns. So the more time they're given to farm without getting punished, without having to be zoned out or fearing their life, the better for the side of PNU SULO.
And that is very much true. And it seems like both of these teams are just really planning to play it out conservatively until this first dragon fight. It might be a good idea for a new paradigm to go for a burn and ultimates from either the Jarvan or this Ari, because these are very crucial ults. Even this Galio are very crucial ults coming into this first Drake. But yeah, Geng's not really being able to find any opportunity to burn anything, let alone find kills in the early game. So Sulo really doing a good job, and they have secured a considerable gold lead so far, despite nothing really happening.
Yeah, so SULO, they are building a 300 gold lead only through the power of CS and killing creeps, which is something that you kind of have to respect. It does add up over time. We do see that Alsol is passing towards the top side, potentially thought about it, but decided not to go for that early roam.
And it seems like it's just gonna be a cross recall from the junglers of both sides. Scuttle has appeared onto the Baron lane side of the Dragon Pit, so that's not gonna translate into a lot of first Drake control, since yeah, it has been secured here, and that Kings has been spotted by a ward by Anito too. So that's information at least to Blasphemy that he'll be able to secure, like make use of to potentially secure some river control. But he decides to make use of his time to help Milen secure lane prior in the mid lane. But no thing on this Aurelion Sol just does Aurelion Sol things. Flying into the mid lane with a giant ball of stars, and yeah, it's just gonna be a very matched early game for both of these teams. But this lead has ballooned to 800 gold right now, Neep.
Yeah, so 800 gold solely from CS, right? You know, I don't think there's... Oh, did they get the turn? No, it's just been CS, which is pretty impressive. If you take a look at how things have been panning out, this dragon has now spawned. They're only going to start it 4 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. And taking a look at the items, things are kind of looking in favor of PNU by a significant amount.
This is an opportunity for PNU to just turn on this Darius. But here we are, Galio comes in to taunt but doesn't really do much. They are sandwiched by the team of SULO. It's a back and forth. Jay splashes in for that kill. Hero's entrance comes out. Anito falls into the hands of Kaisa with a killer instinct. Seems like SULO has come out ahead. Oh, no, sorry. NEU Paradigm has come out ahead from that, despite the power of the other team.
And I think we have to pay attention to how the Braum played, because look at the Braum ultimate. It's just really crucial in keeping the team knocked up, and the Darius just was in the perfect position to just punish this Corki, who disrespectfully packaged in and died as a result, you know. So well played to the side of NEU Paradigm, team fighting well. But something that we do need to point out is that it's actually PNU SULO who ended up with the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, despite that, it is the Ocean Drake. So, like we mentioned in the previous games, that's really not a big dragon to worry about. The vampirism from dealing damage isn't that big, especially in the early to mid game. It's really gonna matter if late game happens. But NEU Paradigm in that team fight, they played it out really well. Jace was in a really good position to flank, and SULO could have pulled the trigger, mind you, on that Darius, but they didn't decide to go for that. So a bit of hesitancy is something that I can sense from the SULO squad right now.
Yeah, so the SULO squad, they don't really want to commit just yet. I feel like they're unsure as to how strong they are at the moment. I think coming into this, they're a bit more confident now, as Corki was able to finish that Triforce. They're going to opt instead to apply pressure in that mid lane, possibly threaten the first turret. They don't really want to fight right now, but it's again NEU Paradigm. They're really just putting the pressure on things. They're really saying, hey, PNU SULO, it's time for you to make a decision. Are you guys gonna fight us, or are you guys not?
Yeah, and these scenarios, it's very crucial which team actually decides to play towards pushing out the waves first. These are the teams who will, I believe, would be given an advantage, because look at all of that gold and XP being missed onto the Baron lane. Bottom lane is a dead game, dead lane, but here we are. That's an ult coming out from the Braum. Blaze of Pressure. Someone's getting caught out. Jace is very low. Hero's entrance is going to be landing onto 4 members onto NEU Paradigm. It's a very good setup from SULO, but here we have the Guardian Hill getting popped by from Blasphemy, and the Rift Herald was secured by SULO.
Yeah, and something I really liked about this fight is look how they went for the Darius instead of committing to the full 5v5. They said, hey, there's an opportunity to get an instant pick. Let's go for that instead. Galio support being utilized extremely well here, getting a 4-man knockup and just enabling the Corki and Ari to do their damage on the back line. And really well played there. I think the Rift Herald was also taken by the Jarvan as well. And that's ultimately PNU SULO coming on top, and both of these teams, you know, they're fighting neck and neck. It's a really close game so far.
That is true. It seems like SULO really found it within themselves to find that decisiveness. They pulled it out in that Rift Herald fight. That was absent in a few minutes back in the Dragon fight, but they really stepped up there. They were able to find their win con, which is just delete that Darius who wanted to flank. I think they learned from their mistake right there, and right now they're posturizing to dive this Aurelion Sword here. Hey, gets knocked up, follow-up dunk, and to charm, and that's gonna be that dragon falling down into 4 members of SULO, plus the tower as well.
Yeah, and Dragon's up in 15 seconds, so this is perfect timing for them to start positioning themselves for the objective. They're gonna opt instead to recall. You know, they created space by getting that first tower, by getting that kill, and they can get that package. They can get a bit more items, and now this fight looks a bit more convincing for the side of PNU SULO.
It's true. A bit of a, not a bit, but a considerable gold lead being built up by them. 3k right now, plus that Ocean Drake, plus that first tower gold too. And they are right now taking over the river as Blasphemy spokes out the dragon, pulls it out, and decides to start it for themselves. Let's see if they can pull the trigger this time around. But no, they decide to just go back and perhaps let NEU Paradigm to allow their opponents to start the dragon for themselves. But it seems like they're having none of it. Like Paradigm, they're just comfortable enough to just sit back and buy their time and allow SULO to start the Drake for themselves.
Yeah, so we do see that the Drake has been taken. It is down to half HP. Lee Sin, opportunity to potentially steal it here. But, you know, they're doing a really good job of zoning. A teleport actually coming in by the Darius. It looks like it's going to be a big team fight exploding. Who got the dragon? It was stolen by the Lee Sin. GA has been popped. And now it looks like it's Paradigm Esports with the advantage. But they do need to be careful as the re-engage has come in by this Garen, by this Galio. And there's just so many things happening all at once. We do see the Kaisa is trying to do what she can to stay alive. But it's not going to be enough. A double kill for this Ahri. Millen showing that Ahri can put up with the rest of the team, and that's 4 kills for the squad of PNU SULO.
And here we do see the replay. Really good play by Kengs. Good patience as well. Just holding that second charge of Resonating Strike. And here we do have like a fight impending. This Jarvan gets pulled and Hero's Entrance scares away NEU Paradigm. But the strength of that Ahri really pulling through in the end. With 3 dashes in charge, Millen on that Ahri was able to help his team secure those succeeding kills even after even despite Kengs being able to steal away that dragon.
Yeah, so that's 5,000 gold lead, and now Ting is caught out of position. He needs to be really careful. The taunt does not connect, the knockup does not connect either. Ting is going to be able to just slide away. Rift Herald has been popped in the top side. It looks like it's going to be a 3v4 situation here as the rest of the members are a bit too late to the response, and I think they're going to be able to kill the Rift Herald before it charges, so good tower defense there.
That's true. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, it's going to be some jungle control being secured by Millen. He was able to use tempo from that RH. Look at
that
this.
A kill onto Ahri? Kaisa?
Well, he dashes in. Kaisa, Rogue flashes out, actually, so I guess that's pretty worth, you know, burning the flash of Rome on that Kaisa, the consistent DPS on the Dragon Lane role. So really good use by Millen of that tempo secured first on the top side of the map. Really yeah, how do you say, transitioning tempo well onto the bottom side.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess Kaisa was lucky that the Braum was there to block a lot of the damage coming in. Galio needs to be careful, but it looks like he will be able to just walk away. No fight required.
Right, and it seems like this top lane tier 1 is really the point of contention for SULO. They really want to take it down. They successfully zone out Ting. Once again, I think this is 3rd times the charm. Finally, they do bring it down. And this opens up the map for them. All tier 1 towers are destroyed right now on the side of Paradigm. Meanwhile, on the side of SULO, their tier 1 towers are still up. And more than that, they're deciding to pull the trigger in this Baron. Very interesting call here by SULO. I don't think they should commit to this, however.
Yeah, so that's going to be 7,000 gold right now in favor of PNU SULO. They're doing a pretty good job of controlling the map, looking for opportunities, and not overcommitting to anything that could be considered dangerous for themselves.
Yeah, and really now just some patience being shown by SULO going back. They really do want to be spending their gold. The empowered Valkyrie is here for the taking, but it seems like DMH just wants to save that for the upcoming Cloud Drake. Just shy of 30 seconds. It will be spawning very soon. Seems like the Flacco though has another thing in mind. He really wants to secure that vision onto the top side instead of the dragon, like grouping up with his team. So an interesting decision there, but seems like SULO with having taken down all of the tier 1 towers, like I said, it's really the ball's in their court in terms of control in the map.
Yeah, so the ball is in their court. There is a dragon spawning in just 20 seconds, in just a few seconds actually. That will be the Cloud Drake. And the package is now available as well for the side
The
of PNU
dragon has
SULO.
spawned.
So NEU Paradigm, they're in a bit of a predicament at the moment because they're kind of getting to this point where the Lee Sin is not as relevant as this Jarvan right now, you know? King of the early game, however, considerable scale off come this mid game stages of the game. If we take a look at the Lee Sin's items, he's only sitting on the Guardian Angel and components to the Youmuu's Ghostblade.
It seems like it's just gonna be an attempt to steal here. But the Legion gets haunted and reaches the demise. Guardian will just get caught, but I don't think he will be able to live another day. And goes and flashes out. So he still survives right here, but he gets collapsed on by all the members of SULO right here. Villain dives into, finds one, forces out the flash of Rock right there. So really good decisiveness from SULO right there. Really telling Paradigm, you have no business trying to steal this dragon away from us. And really good job by Flaco as well, being on top of controlling that attempt by Kengston that leads him to take away that dragon as we see in this replay. And Kengs thought he was out. He thought he was out for good measure, but no, he does get punished here, and this leads to SULO really taking pressure and securing the Baron for themselves after that successful play.
Yeah, so SULO, they are going to be able to take that Baron. They did a really good job of just securing that team fight. And I think this Ari has been doing a very good job of being this assassin mage. Okay, there's another pick. You know, Ari just doing her job, getting these picks. In the previous fight, she got a pick onto the Kaisa, which I think was also quite crucial as well. And, you know, this might be a scenario where teams start thinking, do we need to ban away this Ari from Milan?
Yeah, the same thoughts definitely right there, Deep. It's a very it's a pick that you really just have to, you know, think about respecting at this point because he's doing so much work for his team. Right now is 3 lanes being pushed up with Baron empowered minions. Look at this, Blasphemy comes in, jumps in with a Cataclysm, traps 3 members. They escape, but not at the cost of their lives as well. Without the cost of their lives. 2 people taken down right here. No hesitation right here from Blasphemy. Takes down Jason Darius as well. Takes down the middle tier 3 tower. It's gonna be bottom lane and the Baron lane being the focus now for PNU SULO. Knocking on the door of Paradigm. They might decide to just end this. Another kill comes here from Ari, and that's the hero's entrance coming in for good measure. Not really necessary. Here we are, another big Ghost Golden Dust thing, but he just falls down. That's his destiny to fall down from the damage of SULO right here. Seems like SULO 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, taking their time, taking down the enemy nexus of Paradigm Esports, and that was a very accelerated end, just from that win from that dragon fight.
Yeah, they went all gas, no brakes there. Just once they got that dragon, they finally decided, hey, let's just end the game. I'm tired of waiting around these objectives, and let's go for that victory. And that's exactly what they did so far, and I think it worked out there. And NEU, they showed some signs of life in that early game. They had those initial kills, they had that first dragon. It's just that transition into that Rift Herald is where things kind of ended up becoming a bit of a disaster. And I think something that they may need to consider is that draft that they kind of displayed this game, because there were some parts where it felt like they didn't really have any damage. They had no opportunity to go for a kill. And maybe it's partially due to the Aurelion Soul. Maybe it's the Darius pick. I'm not really sure, but there was a lot more cohesion with that team composition from PNU SULO, and I think that cohesion was lacking for NEU Paradigm.
Yeah, and to add to that, Neep, I do agree with you, but I feel like Paradigm Esports just didn't capitalize on their early game strength enough. They did have that Lee Sin, they did have that Braum, they did have the wave clear coming from Kaisa. They didn't opt to go for a 1-to-1 strategy. They didn't opt to go for any aggressive invades against this Jarvan. So I feel like they kind of let their opponents breathe a bit too much, you know, allowing Ari to just get to level 5, this Jarvan get to level 5 in power farm. So I feel like an option is to to ban out the Ari, but another thing that they can do is to really capitalize on their early game strength if they decide to draft in that manner.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There are a few things that need to be adjusted for the side of NEU Paradigm. And as for PNU SULO, I think don't fix what's not broken, right? You don't really need to change things. This Ari pick did do extremely well for Milan, and I think it's great that they have this pocket pick that teams are having trouble addressing. So I honestly see I can see them picking Ari once again coming into the next set of games we have for the game two between NEU Paradigm Esports and PNU Sulo. And this is also a huge opportunity for PNU Sulo to kind of establish themselves on the group stage point system and get themselves. I think they'd end up placing roughly towards the top of the ladder, tied with Bravehearts if they secure this 2-0 for themselves.
Yeah, and they definitely set themselves up for it. And speaking of setting up, once again, this tournament, by the way, is presented by ASUS Republic of Gamers, powered by the reigning king of gaming smartphones, the ROG Phone 5. With a Qualcomm Snapdragon 888, a 144Hz AMOLED display, and a massive 6000 mAh battery, take your gaming experience to the next level. Hashtag for those who dare. And it's available in your nearest ASUS and ROG accredited stores nationwide, by the way. Hop onto rog.acadarena.com to check it out. I was actually thinking of securing an ROG Phone 5 for myself too. And I think you were also, Neep. You do play Wild Rift as well. I play Wild Rift as well. It's a really great gaming phone.
Yeah, the ROG Phone 5, it'd make a huge difference with how you play. No lag. I hear you can enable that 120 for the 120 hertz mode on Wild Rift with that ROG Phone
Ooh.
5. And we do have some shoutouts here. So Riri, stay positive, stay strong, NEU. Focus on what you can do. Shout out to Isai. So there's a shout out there for you guys right there. If you guys want to do a shout out for yourselves, you can go ahead and type hashtag exclamation mark vote in the Twitch chat, and you can drop your own shout outs for the team. And, shout out whoever you want, and maybe we'll read them out during the broadcast.
Yeah, and great. It's great to see everyone right here, supporting their teams as well. And even if you're not really, one of the NEU people, one of the PNU people, just being here with us in AcadArena in this broadcast, it means a lot. This wouldn't have happened, been here without all of your support as well. So we have to thank you guys on behalf of the whole AcadArena crew. And the coming into this second game, I just want to ask you: do you feel that Paradigm they have a chance to bounce back and make this into a draw?
Mm, For Paradigm, I think it's possible. Like, I honestly think they have the individual skill to do so. They have the means to do so. It's just about really building together a composition that has cohesion, that can really play to the strengths that these members have, and setting things up in that regard.
And in that case, we will really have to see what sort of adjustments they will be bringing into their draft coming into the second game. But for now, let's sit back and hold on tight. I feel like at this moments in time, it's very important for teams, especially those who faltered in the first game, since this is a best of two series, to really think it through. Is it worth to really invest one ban against Ari? And to that point, it's very important to note that for Wild Rift, League of Legends Mobile, basically, the banning system for competitive right now, what usually is the case, is just a two ban system. And if you contextualize that, you put it side by side with LoL PC, which allows for five bans for each of these teams, then it becomes there's a lot more weight being put into the decisions that you have in deciding on which champ to ban or not to ban.
Yeah, that is the case, and we do see that the bans have gone underway for these two teams, Diana and Ziggs being taken away right off the bat. Both mid laners, Garen actually being taken away from PNU, so I guess they felt that the Garen was a problem, so they're gonna just opt to, they don't want to deal with it anymore, so they're gonna just opt to ban it away. So this does leave the draft quite open for both of these teams. Gragas still on the table, Akali still on the table, Camille, Galio, Braum, even Lily Sin. So a lot of ways they can go about this drafting phase, and it's gonna be curious to see what they decide to do.
And Paradigm, one more ban to their name. And I'm thinking, are they considering banning this Ari? It was a big hassle to deal with. And no, it seems like they're gonna keep their heads straight and not really read into that pick too much and just ban out that Camille, because Camille is also a good ban, especially if you're second pick, since it's a flex pick and it enables a lot of compositions to be put into play, especially that Camille Galio combo that we saw in the first in the previous series between Teletigers and CPU Golden Eagles. So yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, so there are a few things now left in the draft. I feel like it's going to be first pick Gragas or Kali potentially for PNU SULO. We will have to wait as these players are still loading onto the Rift. They're still joining the lobby up, and we will hopefully be starting the actual drafting phase very soon. So it's going to be exciting stuff.
And exciting indeed. And by the way, just shout outs by the way to our partners at Logitech G. If you're looking to supercharge your gaming setup so you can hashtag keep playing, check out Logitech's amazing gaming gear at logitech.acadarena.com or type exclamation point Logitech G in the chat for a 175 peso discount for a minimum of 1,750 peso purchase on any Logitech G product. So shout out to you guys. And speaking of Logitech, by the way, these players, these teams are playing for a really interesting set of prize pool. I do believe that whoever comes out on top in this UAC season, as well as second place, will be given some decent, not decent, but really nice Logitech earphones, right, Nip?
Yeah, the Logitech G333, they're pretty nice earphones. They come in some pretty cool colorways, and I think it's honestly perfect for what you need when you're playing for Wild Rift. A lot of these guys, they're not using Discord on their PC or anything to do comms. You play using the built-in voice chat in Wild Rift, and just being able to make sure that you can listen to what your teammates are saying, and listen to what and so that your teammates can actually hear what you're saying is a huge bonus to both you and your team. And once you get those earphones, I feel like you'll be climbing a lot more ranks and you'll be doing a lot more well in these tournaments. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a very underappreciated aspect of the game, like the audio cues. Not really to dive into it a bit more, but it's kind of interesting to think about it, because there's a recent champion release in the name of Rengar, and if you can't really hear that audio cue well, and it has happened to my team in particular, where we were screaming, the players were screaming, Rengar ult comes out, and it wasn't noticed at all because of the visual cue isn't that noticeable as well. A pair of Logitech G333s would definitely help for that.
yeah. So Logitech G333, they're pretty exciting. They're pretty cool stuff, and it would be a great complement to your ROG Phone 5.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? ROG Phone 5 plus the Logitech 333, G333, and I think you've got yourself a pretty clean Wild Rift setup. And guys, for those of you who are wondering why the draft has not moved just yet, it's because these bans were declared before the in-game lobby had been created. There is no banning system quite yet in Wild Rift, so it's a kind of a sneak peek as to what's in store for us for this game too. But hopefully, we'll be underway very shortly. Um, and hopefully we'll be seeing some more interesting picks. Like one of the picks I really want to see is that Ramus. I actually really like Ramus in Wild Rift. That's actually what I've been spamming. Support Ramus.
Well,
Kind of trying to keep up the trend of sticking to those exotic support picks here in Wild Rift, and I've been getting mixed success. Because like if you think about it, the map in Wild Rift is really small, and
right.
Rammus is really fast. Okay, so you can be anywhere on the map, and you can easily respond to like any of those ganks, and enable like the 2v1 situations for the team. And then after that, you're already back to bot lane. It's like your AD carry didn't even notice you were gone the whole time because you're just that fast.
You know
You
what?
know?
I'm not gonna try to contradict you there, David, and instead I'm just gonna say Maybe there's potential there, you know. What if you draft an Ezreal who's who's a
Good.
very self-sufficient in lane, and
Yeah.
you can just perma roam on Ramos, you
Guys,
know?
think
So
about it. You know, if you're looking to hop into Wild Rift ranked games after watching this broadcast, Ram is support. Or if you are a UAC player who is thinking of what to play next week, Ram is support, guys. Promise, trust.
and if ever that doesn't work out for you and end up going 0-2 in your UAC game, just don't forget who you heard that suggestion from, guys. Yeah. Yeah, we it seems
Oh,
like
okay.
the draft has already resumed. It's gonna be a first pick, Gragas on the side of Sulo, and I love it. It's my personal favorite. Flex Gragas can be flex top, jungle, mid, potentially even support. So really not showing your cards at all early, and it's gonna be a response in the form of Elisen and Bromhover. So it's the same thing from Paradigm. Maybe they wanna try it out again in the early game.
Yeah, maybe they're thinking they can do it better. I think it's just a bit of. They just need to adjust some of the other pieces that they kind of put together, because Lee Sin, Braum, Kaisa, that's a good core. There's a lot you
Right.
can do about it. It's about the mid lane that you okay. I like the Holly,
Nice.
so nice. Yeah, thumbs up there. We're making progress. Paradigm Esports with this draft. As for PNU Sulo, they can go a lot of ways with this as well. Gragas, you've got the quad flex. So you already have your Ari already locked in, so it's not going to be mid lane. So it could still be a top. It still could be jungle or support. Let's see where they go for. So Jarvan jungle. That's okay. I like that. And you have that Galio in the support position again. So PNU, very similar draft to what we saw in game 1. Actually, extremely similar draft to what we saw in game 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, and it's gonna be a Z over. We have seen a Z being played. Have been played already today, but is this gonna be part two? I do agree with Neep, saying
Ooh,
that oh my
okay.
gosh, it's a
Okay.
lock in.
I
So
see
it's
you.
rock locking in that Z, and this is akin to something that might be familiar to everyone who's been following Wild Rift since the start, at the very least competitive Wild Rift. This is a comp that professional teams, and namely Next Play and Smart Omega, ran when Wild Rift was a bit, still new. It's the 1-3-1 mid game late game comp where you just split the map with Akali and Zed in the side lanes and having your three core stuck in mid. So let's see if this sort of team comp can be run pulled to perfection by Paradigm New Era. So this is another chance for them, and I think it's a good chance because Jarvan doesn't really deal well with champions with a lot of dashes. Galio, there's no Camille to enable that Galio pick. So this is a really good chance for Paradigm Esports to show us what they're made of.
Yeah, so this is an opportunity to make that bounce back, tie things up,
Minions have
and go
spawned.
1-1 instead of just giving PNU the full sweep.
Oh my gosh! And that's a full
Oh
team
no,
knock up
disaster.
from the Gragas, and you said it already, Deepam. I think that's disaster right there.
Yeah, so that's gonna be first blood for PNU Sumo. I think they did this before yesterday, if I recall correctly. Both of these teams were grouped up 5v5. It's just that when you have that Galio taunt, when you have that Gragas E, you know, how did they even know to do that, Maybe they did some research, maybe they did some homework, and they kind of scouted where their level 1 strategy usually is, but very interesting.
I feel like that's just amazing scouting on the side of Sulo, and that's just an example of the power of what scouting can do. Unfortunately, Anito was forced to level up E first, but even though he's getting really outtraded here in lane, okay, so that's Rome's flash being burned early, getting punished by the early Jarvan gank bot. She's to camp gank into a gank at bot, so oh wow, Sulo really putting a stop onto NEU Paradigm, some attempt at pulling things through in game 2.
Yeah, so we do have to see how things are gonna go. It's already 2-0. We do see that both junglers are gonna go on the other sides of the map for this Scuttle Crab play. And from all of this, there's already a 2,000 gold lead in favor of PNU SULO, so things are not looking good.
Yeah, and moving back to what we've been saying for the draft of NEU Paradigm, Kaisa, Brom, Lee, they are the ones who are supposed to be thriving in the early game, but Sulo just, I don't know, the stars really seem to align for them in that first play that gave them the first blood. I think right now what NEU Paradigm needs to do is to try and empower their side laners in the form of Sting and Jace on this Zed and Akali respectively. I think that's gonna be their win condition if ever they want to have a chance at winning in this game.
Yeah, they do really need to consider that. We do see that these players are possibly going for an extremely early tower dive. I don't think they know the Jarvan is already there. Here comes the setup. The Galio taunt will connect onto one member. You do see that the Braum will go down. However, careful, that's going to be your life being sacrificed. That's the Galio going down as well. Lee Sin not going to be able to do anything to clean up. And interesting tower dive. It is a 1-for-1 support for support. And I guess let's take a look at how the execution went for that.
Yeah, so it seems like the Galio Flaco jumps in, misses his E, gets a taunt onto the Braum. Not really the target that you want to be going for because he does have that unbreakable, which bought them a lot of time, not gonna lie. So I feel like a bit more patience could have been made there on the side of Sulo. Maybe go for that Kaisa instead since Blasphemy and Millen were already in position to go for that tower dive anyway.
Yeah, so they were in a pretty good position for all of that. Let's take a look at how things are going for the rest of the map. Akali and Gragas, they weren't really involved so far. They've kind of just been on an island to an extent this game. But we are approaching that 4-minute dragon mark, and these players are going to be slowly building their items up.
And what's interesting is Anito and this Gragas, despite being on the losing end early, he's actually secured a very small gold lead for himself against this Akali, which should have, been able to punish that early body slam, that level 1 body slam being taken as a first kill from Gragas. But right now, seems like both these teams are going to plan to, contest for this first Drake. Akali was able to finish building that Liandry's, which in extended fights will prove to be very impactful. If that does happen, seems like action is pulling through mid lane. No ult's being burned, but the dragon has been started by PNU SULO. Jace has warded a bit. There is vision. Kang has thrown out Resonating Strike. There is a taunt being pulled through. There is a flag coming in from Paradigm right here. Very messy fight, but that hero's entrance was a very good deterrent against NEU Paradigm. They did secure those kills before the dragon was successfully taken. However, let's see this replay.
Yeah, so let's take a look at exactly what happened in this dragon fight. We do see again a huge setup by Braum, but it doesn't really matter because the rest of the team is able to collapse in. The name of the game for these team fights is collapsing onto the pit. When you have that zone control that the Galio, that the Gragas, that the Jarvan provides, you don't really have to be the ones that force yourselves out. And something that I've noticed this game is we haven't really seen the Zed make an opportunity for the team. He hasn't really been able to do Zed things, go for the assassination. And if you take a look at his items, he's interesting item build so far. Went for the early Executioner's Calling, but doesn't really have that Ghost Blade, doesn't really have that Dusk Blade either. And he's kind of just chilling on, not really much.
He does have those CDR boots, which honestly will be really great as long as he, finds opportunities to use his ultimate. So to put that ultimate in lower cooldown, shorter cooldown. But so far, like you said, not much happening. Zed is stationed here into the mid lane. I believe the better play is to just go for that 1-3-1 setup right now and, just accelerate the game in terms of that. Play towards the side lanes. Maybe not even contest this Rift Herald, go for the tower, the bot lane, but seems like NEU Paradigm really are tunneling into contesting this objective, but they're not really in a position to do so.
Yeah, so we do see that the Rift Herald has fallen to the side of PNU SULO. They have that 4k gold lead, and they are just in a very comfortable position to make things happen for themselves.
Yeah, and PNU SULO not really overextending, um, trying to not really trying to overextend in terms of tempo, but right now look at this very cheesy pick being set up by SULO. It's a lane ambush. Look at this, Kaisa. He doesn't check. She is taunted. She is bursted down. She escapes, Killer Instinct out, but I feel like she's still gonna die. Flash out coming in from Blasphemy. There is Kengs to save the life. A really great Dragon's Rage right there to set up that two-man knockup, but Hero's entrance is there to save the day. So great retaliation right there coming in. Ting, however, on the other side from the mid lane, forces out the flash from Milan right there. Burns flash for himself right there as well. But despite that really good answer from that play initially made by SULO, SULO is still rewarded with that first tower of the game in the Baron lane.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good play coming from PNU SULO. Even though nothing really happened in terms of kills, you know, the score is still 6-2. They got that top tower. They were able to burn a lot of flashes and a lot of skills on the side of NEU Paradigm. And if we take a look at what's spawning in a few seconds, it's the next dragon. And that dragon is going to be a mountain drake. So, you know, something that's worth contesting for, something that's worth investing into.
That is true, and given the state of the gold distribution right now, and just the totality, SULO right now they are comfortably sitting on a 5k gold lead. That means they are naturally in the better spot in contesting for this. But meanwhile, it seems like Jace has found a kill for himself in form of Zaya Mace, goes golden and successfully gets out. So here we do see Akali being used to Kengs. Dragon's Rage, but to no avail, and just a prolonged fight being taken advantage of by SULO right here. Not really decisively exiting here. NEU Paradigm, I think they should have been happy with that initial kill from Jace, but they just overstayed.
Yeah, they just overcommitted, and now it's going to be another dragon for PNU SULO. While they did trade one life for that, it doesn't really matter as they're able to get this free Mountain Drake. There's nothing they can do. They even get a freebie in the terms of that blue buff. And now I think the most obvious play is probably rotate towards that bottom side, take another free objective in the form of that bottom turret, and push your gold lead to what? 6,000? 7,000 already.
Seems like cross map plays to play in the head of Ting right here, the mind of Ting. Recall's being cancelled by Kengs, but I don't think he expected to lose his life just to attempt to cancel the recalls of Zaya Base and Anita right there in the bot lane. A bit of a careless play. That's something that you can't really risk at this stage in the game, given that you're so behind. Your team is so behind right here. So that's a bit of a slip up by Kengs on that Lee Sin.
Yeah, so Lee Sin did make a bit of a slip up there. And if we take a look at the score, it is 9-3. The Baron is about to spawn, and these items are just way heavily in favor for PNU SULO. And I think NEU Paradigm, they're playing from a very interesting position. You know, they kind of have to rely on these assassination attempts, on these pick potentials, in order to make something happen. Otherwise, they're just gonna get run over in these team fights. Because if we take a look at the draft, you know, you don't really have much team fighting prowess. You have a Zed, you have an Apolly, you have a Lee Sin. It's not explosive team fighting compared to the Jarvan, compared to the Gragas, compared to the Galio, and even that Corki package as well to an extent.
That is true, but you know, the good thing here is that Jace was able to demonstrate that. He was able to, you know, go for that and find the pick into the Corki a while ago. So they just have to keep doing this. But the problem is PNU SULO right now, since they are in the driver's seat, they're really forcing objective plays right here, and that leads Paradigm to just respond and, you know, stave off these plays from happening. But at the same time, since they're opting to rotate in this manner, their win condition, which is the 1-3-1, is it, you know, being utilized. And given that, SULO, it seems like they've decided, with the map pressure that they've found for themselves, try to attempt to start this Baron, but they decide not to. Maybe it's a bit too early, but honestly, I think they can force it. They have the team fight comp, they have the 10,000k gold lead, so I think they should just, you know, press forward as a team, and they'll be able to control more of the map if they do so.
Yeah, and I mean, they do need to be careful as there are a lot of potentials for their team to get picked. Like, I honestly think the Gragas can 1v1 this Zed at this point in time just because Gragas' base damage stats are just that high and he's extremely tanky. But it looks like it might be PNU SULO possibly going for an engage. Opting not to instead, the package is ready for the Corki. He is holding on to it. They are looking for an opportunity to just blow this game out of the water, you know, bust the door down and take that victory.
And the problem here with the NEU paradigm, I think they have the right idea. They want to go for this 1-3-1, but the warding is just so hard for them to deal with. Thankfully, they're disciplined enough to go for a skill check there onto that brush. But SULO, they just decide to go back in, play it patiently, and it's a package being burned by Zeamis. Oh, Akali Jace comes in, tries to assassinate the Corki, but seems like Jace is the one who will be assassinated instead. Gets taunted, life is going to be paid for. Hero's entrance comes in to follow up, not really needed. Flacco is low, Rome thinking about going in to secure that kill, but no. Gets staved off from the presence of all the rest of the SULO squad, and Jace right, that might have been an opportunity, but that wasn't an isolated fight as he thought it would be.
Yeah, so it wasn't an isolated fight, and I think the Zed, I'm still waiting for the Zed to do something, to be honest, this game. I haven't really seen him gone for any assassination attempts so far. Kind of relegated to matching this Gragas in the side lane, which isn't exactly optimal for Zed, and this is going to be the Dragon being started by PNU SULO. This is the Infernal Drake, so quite valuable for both of these teams. And it looks like they're going to attempt to contest it, but here comes the big engage. The Legion kick hits 4 people. Will he get the steal? It looks like he won't. And here comes the collapse. Oh, he actually gets the steal, but Kaisa is way out of position. He's probably going to fall right now. Are they going to keep up the chase? Are they going to look for it? No, it looks like they're going to go ahead, push mid, possibly set up this Baron, as that's 2 members of Paradigm Esports dead.
As we see in this replay, it looked like the members of SULO were clumping up. It would have been a really great just wombo from the Brom, but going back to the team fight composition, SULO just performs, excels much better in these 5v5 team fights. So that's not a fight that a new paradigm would really look to win. But thankfully, the steal from Lee Sin was there for that Infernal Drake. But this time around, this Baron, the more important objective, it's just too hard for him to get into position to try for that steal. It was possible, but just the sheer zone control, too much for a new paradigm to handle at this point in time.
Yeah, so a bit too much for these guys to handle. And now the score is 12-3. The gold lead is quite massive at the moment. There's a 13,000 gold lead in favor of PNU SULO. This turret will help by a bit, pushing it just 1,000 less. But again, there's very little that they can do at the moment. The Zed has been farming up for the majority of the game. Does have the most gold out of all of the members of any paradigm. And let's see if he can finally utilize that gold lead, possibly get the assassination attempt onto the Corki, onto the Ahri, because that's really what they kind of need to get back into the game. They need to force uneven fights, they need to force picks, but I think PNU aren't gonna let them do that.
Yeah, they're just grouping up here at mid. Even Ahri converging from the top lane just to secure that tier 2 tower in the mid. And this is just gonna lead to a slowly but surely strangulation by the SULO squad of the NEU paradigm squad. And that's another tower falling down right here. Even Ting losing his life while trying to defend this siege coming out from SULO squad. 5v4 right now. It's the middle tier 3 taken down, tier 2 taken down in the Baron lane. Soon to follow right here is the bottom and top side tier 3. Jace is trying to do her best, his best, but gets taken down too. Gold lead is just too much. 20k gold lead right now. And the whole squad of SULO just dancing in the base of Paradigm. Hero's entrance for good measure. And just trying to find some residue kills right here. Farming some stats here from PNU SULO. And that's gonna be the game from them. Very sticking to their guns, PNU SULO. They played it really well in terms of that. And that first event in this game too, I think that was I don't know if it's right to say that sealed the deal, but that
I
surely made an impact in their mental for sure.
Yeah, I mean, no one likes getting invaded 5v5 and losing that level 1 fight. It can be quite tilting as a player to like you're coming into a 16-minute game already on the back foot, you know. No one wants to do that because it's hassle, you know. It's a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And I think well played to Sulo. They did the research. They were able to scout out the level 1 positions, and that invade paid off greatly. It did dividends for the team.
Yeah, that's basically the long story short. But very well for us, Deep, and amazing game from Sulo. I think the draft was there for NEU Paradigm Esports. I could definitely see the potential in the draft, but unfortunately, what it boils down to really is execution, and it wasn't on their side on the second game. Definitely from start to finish. So once again, congratulations to Sulo bringing themselves up to 4 points. Fortunately, Paradigm New Year University still stuck at 1 point for them, but there is still lots of games for them and for ourselves for today as well. So we will be taking a quick break. By the way, but before that, once again, University Alliance Cup wouldn't be a thing without our amazing sponsors and partners. UAC 2021 is powered by Globe Telecom, our official telco sponsor, ASUS ROG Phone 5, our presenting sponsor, Logitech G, our gear partner, Riot Games, our publishing partner, and Twitch Student, our platform partner. So thank you very much for tuning in so far, and we will be back for the next series.
Why don't you watch me do my thing?